What up, world? Established Rich coming right back at you. Listen, we've all seen stories in this culture where rappers have had their moments, artists who've had their run, but this right here, what we're talking about tonight, this is something different. This ain't just another rapper blew up story. This ain't he got a hit, went on tour and cashed out story. This is about a man who never stopped creating even when the walls were closing in on him. Even when the people count him out was louder than the people cheering for him. I'm talking about NBA YoungBoy, Contrail Garden from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Now let me break it down for the people in the back.
He did not start with a smooth path. He did not start with a safety net. When he was just a child, he broke his neck in a wrestling accident. Not a sprain, not a crack, a break so bad he had to wear one of those halo braces that literally screw into your skull to hold your neck in place. 3 scars on his forehead to this day. And those are not just physical marks. That's the kind of injury that follows you mentally too. He was raised by his grandmother in North Baton Rouge. That was loved in the home, but outside, the streets were loud, unforgiving, and dangerous. He had to grow up fast or he was not gonna make it at all. School was not his focus. By 9th grade, he dropped out. Soon after that, he was locked up in juvenile detention. That's where he started writing. Not essays, not homework, but lyrics, bars, trying to turn frustration into something that made sense, trying to turn fear into something that felt like power. When he got out, there was not a label waiting. There was not a big manager offering him a contract. What he had was his pen, his voice, and a circle that believed in him. His first mixtapes were not polished. They were not chart toppers, but they were raw. They were honest. And that's why they started to spread. Baton Rouge first, then Louisiana, then the internet. People started hearing a voice that sounded older than his years. And that wasn't by choice. Life had aged him before the music industry ever did. Then came the breakout, AI YoungBoy. That's when the buzz started to spread in a real way. Atlantic Records came calling. The music got bigger and the reach got wider. But here's the thing, he never slowed down. While other artists were debating when to drop, planning perfect album rollouts, he was in the booth constantly. In 2018, he released 8 projects. 8. Most artists today release an album every couple years. He wasn't waiting for industry timing. He was on his own timing. And in 2022, he did it again. 8 projects. That's not a strategy. That's an obsession. He even admitted that himself. I got a disease for putting out too much music. I can't help myself. It's addictive. The music is therapy. But while he was feeding the fans, life was getting heavier. Legal trouble, federal weapons charges, multiple arrests. Then came house arrest in Utah. 24-hour armed guards outside. Cameras watching him constantly. Every step, every move was being watched. Most artists in that situation would disappear from the public eye. He built a studio in his house and kept going. Recorded album after album. Shot videos inside his house. Kept feeding his fan base like nothing had changed. Now let's be real. It wasn't just the legal battles. He's talked openly about his pill addiction, about isolation, about being in dark places. And yet when he says music is therapy, you believe him because it's not some polished PR line. It's his truth. Sometimes it was the only thing that kept him steady. That's why his audience connects with him so deeply because they can hear the fight in his music. They can hear when he's struggling and when he's focused. Here's the part that still blows my mind. Through all of that, the arrest, the confinement, the addictions, the pressure, the music didn't just keep coming, it charted. Top 10 albums stacked up. Billboard 200 entries piled up at a pace we almost never see. By 2025, he had 34 appearances on the Billboard 200, more than E40, and tied with Nas and Jay-Z for top 10 albums at 25 years old. That's not normal. That's not common. That's a generational run. Then came the shift. 2 months before MASA dropped, Donald Trump granted him a full pardon. For the first time in years, he wasn't confined. He was not being monitored 24/7. And instead of disappearing or celebrating for months, he went straight back to work. MASA, Make America Slime Again. 30 tracks. It debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200, selling 49,000 copies the first week. Another top 10, another milestone. But MASA was not just another album. It was the first release after his freedom. It was a statement. Here's why the youth ride with him the way they do. They watched him fall. They watched him get back up. They watched him make mistakes, face the consequences, and keep going. They're not following perfection. They're following someone who's human, who's flawed, who's growing in public. And that makes the connection stronger than any marketing plan. Now he's preparing for the road. Touring, meeting the people face to face. That's a different kind of test. Not just performing, but staying focused, staying disciplined. Night after night, city after city. If he can keep that focus, this run becomes a career. And that career becomes a legacy. When you look at everything he's been through, the childhood injuries, the losses, the legal fights, the confinement, the addiction, and then you look at the catalog, you realize one thing is simple. When he's at his best, he creates. When he's at his worst, he creates. No matter what. He keeps creating. And that's why I call this creation through the storm. Salute the NBA YoungBoy. Like, comment, subscribe, Established Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.